Hi, today we will be showing you how to perform basic maintenance on your Rowe hoppers. The tools that you will need are as follows: a Phillips screwdriver, a flat screw head, a 1/4-inch nut driver, rubbing alcohol, a disposable toothbrush, and a clean towel.
Okay, first, before we start cleaning up these machines, one important thing to note is what kind of hoppers you have. One of them could be red or black. These are the two options you have. This is important to know because when you want to buy new parts like these agitators, it's important to know. Red means it's for large coins. So black, you'll need the large agitators. The black letters on the hopper means that you're going to need the smaller one, which is white. Okay?
Okay, as you guys can see, we have the front of the red hopper. Alright, and now in this upcoming picture, the circled dots are going to indicate the areas where you need to unscrew. So just follow these directions. Both sides and the two on the bottom.
Okay, now that you have all the screws removed, turn the machine to the right. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky. First, you want to open this latch right here. Just pull up, that's it. Okay, and just leave it like that. Next, you want to pinch these parts together. Just pinch, it will most likely move very freely. Okay, now all you want to do is lift that part up. Okay, what you're lifting is this little green piece. Once you lift up, now you can pull. You need to pull on the right side, and there should be a gap, and lift up. It should be removed very freely. And this is what you're gonna get right here.
Alright, so now that we have this part taken out, we're going to need a 1/4-inch nut driver, a 1/8 center punch, a hammer, and a pair of pliers. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the nut driver, and you see this white part right here, we're going to be unscrewing from here. But you need to also keep in mind you have to hold this part down in order for it to be unscrewed. So I'm holding it down with my left hand, using my right hand right here. I'm just going to unscrew this part right here. There you go. Cut it out. Take this part off. Alright, now we're going to move on to cleaning the tracks. So we're going to need rubbing alcohol, a rag, and a flat-headed screwdriver. We're going to take the rag and I'm going to wrap it around my two fingers right here, and I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol. Move my flat-headed screwdriver, pour some rubbing alcohol, and we're going to clean the tracks right here. Really get the dirt off. This whole area. Okay, and then we're going to flip it to the side right here, and you're going to notice this little knob right here. I'm going to push it all the way in, and this is going to allow us to spin the tracks. And you're going to clean the edge of the tracks right here. Make sure the whole thing is clean. Keep spinning it. Keep spinning the tracks. Okay, once you're done with that, get rid of the rag, get your flat-headed screwdriver, and now we're going to clean the edges right here. Using my flat-headed screwdriver, coming in, there's going to be dirt trapped in this part. I'm going to clean it. And then same thing on the other side right here. The extra dirt off, and we're good. Okay, now that we have this part removed, we're going to need to focus on this piece right here. Now if you zoom in, you're going to see that there is a little like thing right here. It's right here. And this is when we're going to need our 1/8 center punch and our hammer. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this part to the side right here, take our 1/8 center punch, and insert it into this hole right here. And what's going to help is if you look on this side, because if we just insert it right here without normally, it's going to slip off. But what happens is if you push this part in right here, this piece will lock out. So now if I push this part in, it's locked. Okay. So now we're going to insert it. I'm using my left hand to insert, and with my right hand I'm going to use the hammer and just hammer down.
Okay, so before in the video we talked about what these agitators are. It correlates to the color of the words on the front of your hopper. This specific one is red, so it means it's large. So we're going to use this black agitator. You could also have the black one, the black letters, which means you're going to need this white agitator. If you're asking or you need this part, please remember which color your words are. Okay, so now that we have this piece off, we're going to need our Phillips head screwdriver. For time's sake, I'm just going to use the machine. So you're just going to unscrew these 4 screws right here. Okay, now that you have it off, you just lift up and it should come right off. Now, this is very simple. Now that you've got it off, you just want to put the brand new one back on, and you want to make sure it lines up. Okay, with these little circles. Then you just want to screw it back on. I'm not screwing them all the way in because I don't want to break it. But if you're doing this by hand, just screw them all the way in. And then I will do this by hand. Make sure it's tight and snug. Okay. Okay, so now that we're done cleaning it and changing the agitator if you needed it, we're going to put everything back together. So we're going to need this piece right here. We're going to start with this piece. So you're going to turn it to the side. Okay, make sure this piece right here, this thing that turns the track, is all the way in. Because sometimes it could be like this and you can't turn anything. So just push it in and it should be able to turn. Okay, make sure it's all the way in. Now, this piece, this is where it's going to get tricky. This piece right here, this thicker piece, is going to need to be facing this way. Okay, so you're going to put it in. Okay, it doesn't need to line up yet. And then we're going to take our little pin, which you took out, and we're just going to stick it in. Okay, it should be able to still move around though. So we're just going to push it in more with your hand, and at the same time move it so that we can feel it as we push it in. Okay, if you push it in deep enough and you line it up, you shouldn't be able to move it. Okay, watch. So right now I took it out a little bit. It's moving freely. Okay, but if I push it in and I can line it up, it shouldn't move. See this? It shouldn't move. Once you have that done, you get your center punch. I'm sorry, and you're just gonna hammer it back in. Okay. This might get a little frustrating, but just don't worry about it. You'll get it. Okay, so now that we got this pin back in, we're going to start putting everything back together. See how it's not completely flush, but it's very close. No need to be perfect. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece. There should be a side that's a little folded up. That's going to be on your right side. Okay, and then you're just going to put it on top, push it down. Okay, then you're going to grab your white piece, okay, and put it on top as well. And you're just going to get your nut screwed in like so. That's it.
Okay, So now that we put this part back together, we're going to lift this piece up. Okay, we're going to lift this piece up again, and we're going to grab this piece. Now, if you notice, I'm using my fingers to hook in between this part, and I'm using my thumb right here to grab it so they're all condensed together. Okay, you're going to make sure that this flat part is facing inwards towards this area. Make sure this part is not flat part in, flat part in. Okay, so I'm going to come in from the top, and on the side right here, you're going to notice there's a little hole right here. And that hole is supposed to be matched up with this green part as we saw in the beginning. Okay? So here we go. From the top, coming down, getting the green part to match with that line. There we go. Like so. Should be in. Okay?
Okay, so now that we have this part on, we're going to start screwing everything back together. Important thing to note, make sure this piece is flat. Sometimes it might pop up like this. It might be loose, and if you turn it, nothing will happen. So you want to push all the way down and turn. You should hear the track move. That's how you know it's all good. Okay, so now that we have this part in, you just need to screw everything together. You want to turn it to the side, okay, and line these holes, this back piece right here, this back piece with this second line right here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Once we have those in, you just need to start screwing them in. Word of note, try not to screw them in tightly at first, so you have a little wiggle room to play with to line everything back up. Like I said, not too tight. Okay, once you're done with this side, you want to move to the other side and do the same thing. It shouldn't be too tight, so you can still move around a little bit. Okay, now that's done, you just want to tighten everything up. Same thing for the other side. Also, don't forget to screw in the bottom 2 screws.